We're going to talk about afflictions are good for you. I know they don't feel good. Who says that when they're going through afflictions are good for me? No one think about that when they're going through afflictions. We're not talking today about human error, but we're talking about afflictions when you have nothing to do with it. Afflictions are good for you. It keeps you from becoming arrogant. It gives you experience and knowledge in things that you could never know without the affliction. It gives you the opportunity to know God's power in a way that you could never have experienced it had it not been for that affliction. Let's look at what the Bible says about it. We're going to look in the, let's see, we'll start at the 119th division of Psalms, and I'll read the 67th and the 71st verse. It says, before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now I have kept thy word. Now let's go back up to the 66th verse. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed thy commandments. Before I was afflicted, I went astray, but now have I kept thy word. See, afflictions are for a purpose. It's an opportunity to see God at work. It allows you to experience things and see it in a different light. The 71st verse says, it is good for me. Who says that? It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. In the middle of the afflictions, you learn more about God. It pushes you to pray and to seek his face. It allows you to understand the statutes of God in a way that you could not have understood it without the affliction. Oh no, who's going to say, bring the pain on? It feels good. I'm ready for the pain. I'm ready for the affliction. Nobody's going to say that. But God has ordained tests and trials that brings on afflictions. Sometimes it's physical in your body. Sometimes it's mentally and emotionally. However, you go through afflictions. The Bible said, endure hardness as a good soldier. Nobody never said it feel good, but I promise you it's going to work out for your good. David said, it is good for me that I have been afflicted. Before I was, what did it say? Before I was afflicted, I went astray. I did my own thing. I didn't have no knowledge of the things you could do. Before I experienced you in that way, whatever your way is, you were going and doing your own thing. But now that I've been afflicted, you've empowered me. You've encouraged me. You've enlightened me to know you, to know your commandments, to know and understand and believe your statutes. Afflictions are good for you. If you don't quit, don't give up, don't look back, just stand. The Bible says after you've done all to stand, just stand. It is not talking about your physical stance in your feet, but in your state of mind or your state of position. Just stand. You can't do anything anyway unless God moves. So just stand. The word says, be still and know that he is God. I'm going to take you to Psalm 55 now. And let's look at what David said again about the affliction. Afflictions makes you more thankful when you come out of them. It makes you more sympathetic. It allows you to have more compassion and love for all mankind. Afflictions are good for you. It keeps you from thinking you know all of that and you are all of that. It brings you into a low estate if you allow it and if you apply your learning. If you do not, it's like going to school. If you learn it and don't apply it, it's not going to do you any good. Whatever you're learning in your experience and in your affliction, you have to be willing to apply it to your life. Listen, Psalm 55, and it's a Psalm of David, and I'll start at the 12th verse. For it was not an enemy that reproached me. Then could have borne it. Neither was it he that hated me, that did magnify himself against me. Then I would have hid myself from him. Look, the persecution, the defaming, degrading, the want to kill and destroy your character does not come from your enemy oftentimes. Oh, yeah, I understand. Sometimes it's human error. We do things to put ourselves in a position to be alienated, to be ostracized, talked about, criticized, or want to kill. But this is talking about when you had nothing to do with it. The affliction had nothing at all to do with you. David says, and it didn't come from an enemy. Because let me help you understand. If it had came from an enemy, you wouldn't understood that. But it's not going to come from an enemy because most of the time you could care less what your enemy thinks or what he says. The reason it comes so painful and it's affliction because it comes from the people you love the most. And you care about what they think and you care about how they feel. So the affliction is going to come from the people you love the most. He said, had it been it was, neither was it there he that hated me, that did magnify himself against me. Then I would have understood it, and I would have just hid myself from him. But it was thou, listen to this. He said, but it was thou, a man mine equal. It was my God and mine acquaintance. It was somebody I was close to. He said, we took sweet counsel together, and we walked unto the house of God in company. It was the church people. It was the one that I knew the closest. I knew the best. I walked with. I loved them. We were equal. It was them that came against me. It was them that ostracized me, alienated me. But listen what he said on the 16th verse. See, that don't give us no excuse. Evil for evil or real for real is not good. God told us not to do that. So we have to strive to obey the Bible when our flesh don't want to. David said, as for me, I will call upon God. It's a choice. And you have to make a choice. What will you do with the knowledge that you have in your affliction? David made the choice to call upon God, and the Lord shall save me. That was David's testimony. Now, what is yours? Going through your afflictions, what are your reactions? What do you do when you're afflicted? Do you fight back? But listen, David said, evening and morning and at noon, I will pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. David allowed his experience, his affliction to push him to pray. He allowed it to push him to pray morning, at noon, and in the evening. It's a choice. What will you do with your afflictions? In your afflictions, you learn more about God. You learn his statutes. You learn how to deal with people. God teaches you so much in your afflictions. And what I mostly learned, he keeps you humble. He keeps you dependent on him. In your afflictions, you learn how to trust in the Lord and how to depend on him. I encourage you, do not give up in your afflictions. It's going to push you to God if you allow it. It's all about choices. What choice will you make in the middle of your affliction? I encourage you, don't give up. Call out to God. And as he saved David, he will save you. He will set you free and deliver you. Your afflictions is for a purpose. Don't give up. Don't you quit. And don't you dare turn around. Let your afflictions work on your behalf. It's going to make you a greater person. God's going to take that affliction, turn it all the way around, and ignite a passion in you to do his will, to do his work, and to see his mighty power working in you. You go forth, you take care, and you be blessed. Until next time, know that I love you, but God loves you best. Until next time, you be blessed.